Good evening, and welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Trev on Ron. Ron is from BONGRIPPER. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing well, Sean. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad to have you on. You kind of come across my sites in the past couple of years in Peripheral, and I wanted to talk to you, so put you on my short list there. And the band's pretty amazing. First off, the fact you're all original members is like, to me, it's it's almost like when you go to when you were growing up, because you were probably close to the same age. You grew up, and it seems like everybody's parents are married, and a few people like you, my parents were separated. I'm like, I was the only kid that's separated. Now it feels like it's the opposite. So for bands to be together that long, it feels like all the bands now have been broken up, and now you're the one group
Yeah,
that's
you,
still together.
you have to like us, just because we're still around.
I
So,
do. I immediately thought this is gonna be a good bunch of guys, or they're just the four craziest guys that can't be with anybody else.
I mean,
I've seen your
maybe a
interviews. You guys
little
are
bit of
pretty chill.
both.
No, you guys are pretty chill. I've seen your interviews. And of course, one of the things that always people talk about, and we'll stop at that first because I mean, obviously you're a heavy band, and you guys are like what 20 years now, is it ish?
Yeah, 2025 marked the like official 20 year.
Yep.
We weren't really keeping track, but the best that we could figure it
Yeah.
out was like the first shows that we did under the name were in 2005.
Yep.
We did the Great Barrier Reefer in 2006. We know that for sure. So, and then everything else is still a little blurry for the first few
Yeah.
years. But,
It's
you
a good
know,
rough number though. I mean, that's a good time. It's a good time, and I think it's first off. I mean, it's obviously like it's yeah, it's super like everywhere. But when people that know about your music and in this genre know you well, and then one of the big things is you guys don't do vocals.
yeah.
So it's one of the few bands I know all the lyrics to. Perfect for me. But now I think this is where I want to start into is, I'll probably go backwards into it. Is songwriting. It's always about this. Are you serving the song? And
Mm.
sometimes you don't need lyrics. And sometimes when you start a band, the singer is the guy who sings the least sucky. Or you get the guy that's really good and whatever. But to just be like, have a band be like, you know what, we don't want a singer. Is it more of a challenge? And this could go back to you maybe sharing, you can go deeper on this one, your musical background, you and the other guys, where you're at, because not everyone has the same musical training, thought process, how they see music. So when you have a 15-minute song and you go, oh, that part, can we go back to 7 minutes in, 30 seconds back by the boom, boom, boom part to work on songs? Is it a super challenge to do that?
Uh, yes.
It feels like a nightmare. I get
I,
anxiety thinking about that. I gotta be honest with you.
no, I would say, an ongoing like joke just is that we can never agree on what one is.
Yeah,
Like how long is one? How many
yeah,
times is one? Like what constitutes your one versus my one? And then with how we write music, it's
yeah.
linear. So we obviously we do repeat parts and such, but
Of course.
it doesn't work in a like traditional like
Right.
verse chorus bridge
Which is easier for a
chorus.
lot of people. At least there's a point where you're like, if you're zoning out, if you're playing out, especially if you're live playing out, you're zoning out, you're
Yeah,
thinking about what you're eating for dinner. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, shoot, where am I?
you honestly you can't with the type of music that we're doing.
Yeah.
At this point, most of our songs are about 20 minutes long.
It's such a commitment. Oh my God. It's
Uh,
awesome. It's so crazy though.
yeah, no, it kind of just makes. I can't speak for everybody because obviously, I'm only one fourth of BONGRIPPER. I am not
Mhm.
I am not BONGRIPPER. I'm Ron from BONGRIPPER. And that's
That is a
also
good
part
movie
of
title.
the
I am
like we
Bong
all
Ripper
can't
is a
agree
good
on
movie
what
title.
one is,
Right.
so it's part of that because my perspective of what we do is different from Nick's perspective. It's different from Dan's perspective. It's different from Dennis' perspective. But I think that's what makes us special, for lack of a
No, it,
better word at the moment. But I mean, it's also kind of the thing of we've been playing music together as BONGRIPPER for 20 years. We've been playing music together before that. We this is our high school band that just continuously evolved, and you've got guitars behind you. If you've played in bands
Yep.
or are an obsessive about music,
Yeah.
that like if you're in one band, like that band can turn into four or five different bands, most of which won't see the light of day.
Right.
And most of them are just a name, or something like that you
Yeah.
think it's like, yeah, no, I've got this great band. Like, we've never played or anything, but like once you hear it, it's gonna be
Yeah. Of
great. And we do it, like, especially in high school, like you talk big
course.
and you want to do all of that.
Right.
um, so yeah, we've been playing to I I started playing music with Nick and Dan when I was 15 years old. They had actually been playing together, I think, since they were like 12 or 13.
Wow.
We all grew up together, in like
Hmm.
the same neighborhood. Met Dennis, through my dad's colleague, who like it had invested in his home studio like in the early
Okay.
days. So Dennis actually recorded our first high school band.
Wow.
At some point, Dennis joined the band, and then we've
So would this
just
be like in the 90s?
no,
90s kind of?
this would have been probably like early 2000s.
Okay.
So
I'm trying to figure the time limit, the years.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I lost a lot of years
um
with COVID. The plague kind of threw me off
oh
the
no,
beats now.
totally. Yeah,
Okay.
I would say I'm 40 years
Okay.
old.
Okay. Yeah. I'm a lot older than that.
So
Get off my
Dennis is
lawn.
the oldest in the band.
Yeah.
You know but we're all in that range.
Okay.
But yeah, it was probably like early 2000s. I
Well, I
graduated.
think what
Yeah,
I
I
ask,
can't
and I'm going to
remember.
incorporate this as you're answering these
Doesn't
questions.
matter.
If you know, but if you could share this, this is kind of the crux of this too. At that point, where were you guys all musically? Because the music you play right now, it wasn't always such a doomy thing. I mean, you had Black Sabbath and stuff, and I'm on 55, so like the doom thing, the evolution of doom and sludge, and all different types of whatever
Yeah.
types of music is, it's a transition. It's always kind of been there for me,
Mhm.
but generationally for you, it just seems a little bit different.
Yeah.
The time window.
No,
So it's
totally. I
kind of
mean,
so it's very cool to me. Like, what was the evolution for you guys? Were you guys like, oh, we all played Sabbath and Caius or whatever? I don't know the time frame. I'm just saying numbers, like groups up there. Like,
yeah.
or did you evolve from yeah, we did this, we did this band, and we played I don't know Green Day, whatever, and we kind of switched to this. Like, what was that also in this formation time for you guys?
Yeah. We've always played like metal, heavy stuff.
Mhm.
There's a it is a true story, of that the official day BONGRIPPER started. We were kind of playing like kind of tech death metal stuff at the
Yeah,
time. We were between vocalists, looking for vocals, looking for someone to do it. But we still were practicing in my parents' basement at the time. We met up, once a week, maybe more than that,
yeah,
because this is still high school, maybe, or early college, somewhere in that time of just still wanting to hang
doing
out with your
stuff.
friends and play music and all of that. But we were practicing, and Dan broke his double kick pedal, when we were playing a song, and
Yeah,
one side just broke. And Nick had came up with the name BONGRIPPER, a few weeks earlier. He was
which
like,
is great, hilarious.
if we ever need to do a doom band, like I got the name. So Dan broke the kick pedal, and we all kind of looked at each other and we're like, well, we don't want to stop playing. So Nick's like, well, screw it, we're a doom band now. So he just detuned the guitar, turned the amps up louder, and we just started jamming,
That's
and just
awesome.
kept playing on. Just we just wanted to make noise, and it's hard to say, but that probably is the first riff of the Great Barrier Reefer.
Mhm.
Like our early shows were us just playing that first riff for about 30 minutes.
Well, you do have that, and it's easy to say the easy, like a Fish or the Grateful Dead type of jam band feel. I
Yeah,
mean, that's easy. That's an easy popular groups to say, but there's a ton of jam bands that do that. But you're kind of like doom jam band in a way where you have a little more freedom, I think, live, if I'm not mistaken, to kind of mix it up a little bit because there are no vocals, and you
mm.
guys have been together for so long. I imagine you guys can go, that part there, we can kind of like you kind of maneuver a little bit, change things up if you have to.
I mean, in the early shows, it was all
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
These days, it's very more structured. We have our parts where I don't want to say noodle, but you know, it's a little more jam oriented.
Yeah.
We just did a tour in Europe this past October, and in the set list we had brought back the song Reefer Sutherland, which we hadn't been played. I don't think we played it since like 2009. Like
Yeah.
we've always moved forward as a band. Like, you know, it's occasionally we'll dip back into the old material and all of that, but like we've always been on a forward trajectory of like what we're doing now is what we want to be
Hmm.
doing. But we hadn't played it in a long time, 20 years as a band. We brought it back, and really the last 10 minutes of that song, at least for me,
Yeah.
feels like a jam. You know, I'm playing a pretty repetitive bass line over it, but like I'm essentially trying to do something different every time to excite myself, but also
Right.
hopefully, you know, excite whoever's listening. And to your question, no, I don't have like a musical training. I took some bass lessons in high school. I was in high school beginner and jazz band, but like
Yep.
I don't know how to read music. If you tell me, hey, play a G sharp right now on a
Yep.
guitar, I'm like, I don't know what that means. Well, I mean, I know what that means, but like, I
Right.
don't,
It's not natural for you. You have to like
yeah,
look it up and
because
yeah.
we've also played in like a lot of different, well, I've played in a lot of different tunings in different bands and such.
Mhm.
Tuning is a big part of BONGRIPPER.
Yep.
It's essentially like the sound is we detune the guitars and bass down to F sharp or no F
Wow.
F standard. That's what I meant to say there.
That's pretty I was excited. I thought I was going down. I just finally down tuned a D on one of my guitars. I thought, oh well, that's pretty rough G. I'm a
So
baby compared to you guys.
that started with well we just detuned the guitars as for low as we could for the first few shows and whatnot. Um, People had hit up our other like bad death metal band asking if we could play, and we're like, well, we're between singers. We tried
Yeah.
one show where I played bass and did vocals. It was terrible. We definitely didn't want to do that again. um, I didn't want to do that again. So we were like, you know, that band can't do it, but we got this new project if you're interested. And, you know, I don't think anyone was because, especially the early shows, we didn't know what we were doing. We're just
Right.
playing as loud and as long as we could and trying to like wrangle a riff into another part or something and signal at each other and
Right.
hope that it's interesting. And, you know, it
There's a
probably
fine line though
wasn't,
to go like that,
but
don't you think?
I
No,
like to
but don't
think
you
it was
think that
great.
though? Like there's a fine line. Sorry to be step on you. That you from just jamming with your friends and being like, I think it's a cool riff, and you guys like it, and people are like, yeah, there's some good stuff in it, but really, it just feels like you guys are just like playing together, and it's not a thing. And all of a sudden, something happens where there's a connection, and people are like, oh, I hear it now. Like you transition from just the four of you guys to the big picture. You know, a sound. You guys something congeals in the music or the songs, or use a band, and all of a sudden, it just feels like it's a piece of music collectively.
Yeah, I
You know,
mean, I think that's the, I mean, that's the magic of music or something.
it is. But I'm saying, but for you guys to do it
But like
and
feeling like to connect
transition,
and
right?
I don't know, express, I guess. Uh, I, it, it's interesting as you reflect on music and everything,
Mhm.
and like, you know, what you were listening to and interested in at the times that things happen, as well as we've always wrote music for ourselves. Like you don't put out an 80, well, you don't record an 80-minute song anticipating that people are going to listen to it,
Right.
let alone like it. You know, uh, but like in the early, like there is absolutely the absurdity of it, and like I love that. That's a Bongripper is an homage to Dopesmoker.
Yep.
You know,
I guess right there, you're like the first time you heard it, I was like, what? Wait, what? And then it's
well,
like, all
well,
right, I kind of all right. And then you just grows on you, and you're like, oh my god, this is awesome.
but yeah, but it's not like we're not trying to be Sleep or anything like that. We did an 80-minute song, but approached it in a completely different way. And I love Dopesmoker. I think it's one
Oh,
of
it's
the
great.
coolest songs ever written. It still blows my mind to this day. I love that I don't fully understand it, and I know that there's people out there that do. And like, I could read the article and like go through the charts, but then like it kind of ruins the bit of the
Yeah.
magic or whatever of it of that like thing of like when I heard it the first time when I was 17 or 18 years old and being like, yeah, yo, have you heard this band that did the hour-long song? Like that's insane. Of course, I want to hear that. But then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, like what else can I hear? And like, yeah, Holy Mountain's great and everything, but like I connected to Ohm personally.
Hmm.
Variations on a Theme and Conference of the Birds are like, I love those, but I'm a bass player, so like that makes a
It
lot of
is.
sense that I would love
It
those
is, and there's a
records.
definitely more of a niche audience though too. So I
Yeah.
mean, I guess my thing is like you guys coming out now, so like 2000s, well, Illinois, I believe, right, is where you guys are
Mhm.
from.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
not like you guys
Chicago.
were, so you guys were not in the desert in the 90s getting
No,
fuzzy, and you had a built-in audience of people that were just like all misanthropes building their own scene. You kind of were like in a scene I can imagine with all kinds of music, not really a huge area for your type of music you guys were doing. No, you know what I mean? So to do
yeah,
that was kind of cool, but also I can see it be a lot more challenging. Like, well, you can't play bar because no one can dance to it. I can't even sing. I can't even hum your song in the car because I can't remember it. It's a listening thing. You have to sit down. You could listen to it. You could have a drink to it. You could fish to it. You could hang out to it. You could just listen. You could drive, you just can't. You know,
yeah. Well, yeah,
that's a
there,
challenge to put your music out there, though.
well, I mean, that's a bit of it. Is we has, haven't really done a lot of press in over the years. Like, we don't send our records out for review.
You do need to release an 80-minute single, though. That would be awesome.
Yeah, no, but I mean that's part of it. And in the early days, it's like, well, who's going to listen to this? Because it's like, oh, we could send this into Pitchfork or whatever, but like they're well, one, I just know for a fact they weren't going to listen to it. Like all of
The
that's
absurdity of stuff
pre-scheduled,
is the best,
especially
though,
in the
right?
early 2000s and all of that. But it's more just trying to find your audience and like the early days, like Nick was sending that track to people he knew through the internet through AIM, like
Yep. Oh, wow.
like that's how. But again, like that's how long we've been at this and doing it.
Man, you
And
guys
then
are
that's
so long in songs. You would be like two AOL discs to
it,
download from you guys.
it
All my minutes are
truly
used up
it
on one
was
album on you guys.
absurd. It was absurd. It truly was.
Love it. That's awesome.
But yeah, it honestly, like, Chicago is an incredible city. It's got an incredible music scene,
Mhm.
but that's also a hard thing for a band because you have to find your audience. So, like when we were starting out, the metal or the heavy bands or whatever you want to call it, the scenes that like
Mhm.
we were transitioning out of were not what people were into. So
Mhm.
like, no one in Chicago was really coming to our shows. But we were sharing this on the internet and you know, yes, there's the absurdity of the name. There's the absurdity of the 80-minute song. Um, People started like picking up on the song or like the album,
Yeah.
and it's like, hey, like people actually kind of like this in
Yeah.
comparison to anything else that we've done, which historically people hadn't liked. Uh, I also in like the early, so when we were starting BONGRIPPER, I'm in college. I was the first bass player of Weekend Nachos, if you're familiar with them as well. But
No.
power violence band from this area of Chicago, but they blew up really big. So like I was simultaneously in Weekend Nachos and BONGRIPPER in like the first year of Weekend Nachos starting and BONGRIPPER because I think we can Nacho started maybe in 2004 or somewhere around
Oh
there.
wow.
So like I made a lot of connections with the like kind of hardcore punk scene in those
Okay.
days and like the
Yeah.
DIY scene of Chicago, as did, the other dudes in the band. I don't
Mhm.
want to discredit anybody.
No, no, no,
Uh,
no.
but, when we were trying to play with like just kind of the more normal metal bands, it felt like a lot of bands were kind of we were trying to, the closest bands that like what we were trying to do was like more in like the post metal realm, kind of like Neurosis Isis
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
Like in the early 2000s, like well, the mid 2000s, like there were a lot of those bands going around.
Yeah.
So like we were like trying to play with bands like that, because it's like, oh, this is kind of similar, but no one was into what we were doing. So we ended up more with the like truly DIY punk experimental scene,
Oh
and
wow.
which honestly makes a lot of sense in retrospect because as you were just saying, it's not something you can hum along to or whatever. It's
Right.
an
I mean,
experience.
yeah. I mean, and I mean, hum along to like a top 40 song. I'm saying your music
No,
can't
yeah, no,
get a melody. I like you guys playing in the show, but I'm saying, but when I speak generally of like, how do we put this out there for people to hear it in the radio or you know what I'm saying? And we can be like, oh, I got that 80-minute song in my head again. Like even songs I don't like can get stuck in my head. You know what I mean? But so it's like
yeah,
it's hard for the human brain to take that much music
mm,
without some kind of. I mean, the lyrics and the melody is such a like a lead for
yeah,
people to remember things, especially if you're not musical.
no, totally. And I mean, that is a challenge. Like we,
And that almost makes you musicians band out of the gate until or if a band like you can crack. I mean, you have obviously gotten bigger, but
mm,
that's the challenge for a young band like you at the time.
yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. It's finding your audience. It's trying to figure it out, but also it's doing what we thought was cool and exciting. Like
I think you built an audience. People are like, I don't think people even because you weren't really a thing. Like because
no,
there
I mean
wasn't a lot of.
that's it. That's
They're like, oh,
absolutely
I like
true.
this.
Like
So you were building your own audience as you went. You know what I
no,
mean?
we were because it's an interesting thing. Like because we're still actively making music, writing music, releasing
Right.
music, and like while we haven't like done press, I've always been open to questions.
Yeah.
I used to post on message boards a lot in my younger days, mainly, when I worked a job where I could sit behind a computer and slack off half the
Yeah.
day. But I would be on like Talkbase and I Love Fuzz, but promoting my own band,
I
but
love that.
also
Oh,
talking to other people about music gear and just other weird
did you
things.
guys have a MySpace?
Oh,
Did you guys?
absolutely,
Did
absolutely.
you?
We had a MySpace.
You know it's still
In
around.
fact, our my huh?
You know MySpace is still around.
I think. Well,
It is. I came
it
across it by accident last night for another artist, and they had a bunch of like all their posts was an older artist, and I saw I'm like it actually had MySpace. I'm like, what? This is awesome. And I clicked on it, and they had a MySpace page. I was like, oh my god, I haven't seen these like literally a million years. So anyway, sorry, sidetrack. So MySpace is actually still doing stuff, which is awesomely
I
crazy.
know that like they got bought by like Justin Timberlake or something at some point, and then there was a crash where it lost all the music. But I'm glad to hear that they're still
It's kind of fun to see people having MySpace sites. So I don't know why I find
yeah.
it very amusing, like in a good way. Wholesome.
No,
It's very wholesome.
our MySpace originally didn't have any photos of us. We it was all just photos of goats, which was great, because I don't know,
I
we're
would have been a
we're
fan
we're
right away.
four
Then that would have
very
been it for me.
normal, average kind of regular
Yeah.
people, and but we still do everything ourselves. We're a DIY band. We sell our own merch at shows. We don't press the records, but we run the record label and all of that. But we handle all of our own stuff. So like if you're dealing with
Better.
anyone from Bongripper, it's you're dealing
Yeah.
with someone in the band.
You know, what's funny is you guys, a lot of people probably at the time, and I know this from so many talks and discussions in my own life of music here, everyone's gone back to where you are right now. Like you guys never went to the point where and because of necessity, you couldn't do it a certain way.
Mhm.
A lot of bands with more commercial music, it's funny I say commercial, but a lot of the bars, listen, a lot of the artists start very commercially,
Yeah,
but there's still labels and there's still different precedents where they want to just get a label, get a record because they didn't
yeah,
know, and they had well having a label is better than signing this over or losing the merch, and then a lot of it bottomed out.
yeah,
And in the past, I would say 10 years, a couple years before COVID, people started getting their hands on it. COVID crashed out. The artists realized well the profit was, and they had a lot more time at home to learn how to record their own music. Some people went online for the first time that they couldn't do. A lot of people are
yeah.
afraid to. They had the extra time. A lot of people now are more of the cottage industry lock and key thing where now a bigger company comes in and wants to take it over. You're like, no, I'm good because I
Yeah,
have all my own
yeah.
profit now. So like if you sell 100 shirts, it's a profit of 100 shirts, and you don't have to sell 2,000 shirts to get the same profit,
Hey,
right?
anytime a venue says, they have a merch cut, we say, cool, like, well, then we get a cut of the bar. And
Yeah,
that
I,
usually
I
shuts the
agree.
conversation down. We never get a cut of the bar, unfortunately, but they don't get a cut of our merch.
Yeah.
So, like, we're selling it, we're printing it, we've carried it there. Like,
Well,
sorry,
I mean,
you know.
it's funny. The show started on the premise of like way back for me, like 5 years now. It started with Dweezil Zappa and us talking at Dweezil and we showed a bunch of things. And it started with the merch of building how much it costs for band, the layers, the colors, the sizing, the money
Mm-hmm.
invested in it, the gas it costs to put the extra weight of the crap in the car and carry it, and back weight and labor. Like there's so many steps in it. It's like it's a $20 shirt. It only costs them $8. Oh, whatever. I'm just throwing numbers around.
Yeah,
Yeah, but there's so much blood, sweat, and tears, and all that there. They should get 100% of that profit. It's like the mob trying to hit you up for any extra money out of that money.
no,
Bands should squeeze out as much money as they can out of the shirts, and the fans need to know that's a big part of keeping them on the road at this point. So that's part of the crux of how my show just started.
yeah,
600 and plus about because I was at a show, I was at Zappa show, and the people in front of me were complaining about the price of the shirts, and I was like, they have no idea because I went to school for this, and I whatever. I'm like, so I literally had reached out to Dweezil on his page, and I said, hey, I have an idea. I went to college for all this stuff and music, whatever, and no one's really talking about it. You want to do something? I had a video background and music background. He's like,
yeah,
yeah, we got time. Sure, we got together. Eventually, it evolved into something. In the meantime, I built the show up on that concept of
yeah,
everything that an artist goes through because you're having a crappy day at work. You can like, don't talk to me. I have my coffee. I'm doing my job. You're having a crappy day. You're just going on with your family. You have a tragedy, whatever. You're still on stage, and you got to smile, and you got to be performing.
yeah. No, I,
And fans don't realize that. And I've been
it,
trying to put that out there a little bit more to be like, be gentle. Be gentle with some of these guys.
no, it is a thing because, like, I mean, I just so consider myself some guy from Chicago who is unbelievably lucky that I am still playing music with my best friends, and
Mm-hmm.
like, it's unreal what we've accomplished. Like, it still, it's not lost on me ever. Um, but also, like, I don't know, I've had a guy come up to me like in a bathroom and just start talking to me like at the urinal at a show. He's like, "Hey, how do you like the city?" I'm like, What are you doing, man? Like, that's not cool. Like,
It's not cool.
that's
I'll
not
do
cool
that
to do
anywhere
to anybody.
at
Like,
my job. Like no
like,
one's allowed to talk to me
that's just
there. Yeah,
bathroom
because it's a rule.
etiquette, you
Yep,
know.
it's a
But
rule,
like,
right? Yeah.
but it is like I'm not famous. I'm just another bald guy with a beard. Like, uh, but yeah, like, it is weird that, like, sometimes, like, I've had these like kind of weird experiences where someone will like know me, and it's
Yeah.
like, wait, I do I know you? Like, this is
You
a
forget
little
who you
weird,
are though,
you
but
know.
right, you forget who you are. I created a show. This goes back to like to me the insanity of the internet. The
Yeah,
title of my show, Laughing Monkey Music. People write it as one word, two, three words. I I want it one word because I think the internet is ridiculous,
yeah,
and you just make things up, and they put it out there long enough.
yeah,
Obviously, you live in this country. We know if you put things out there enough, keep saying it, it's out there. So for me, the name of the show, we'll leave it right there.
yeah,
But the name of the show was so silly to have all these people. Here's I listened to growing up, saying the name of the show. It evolves eventually into just being ridiculous. But then at
yeah,
the same time, not put my name or my face out there anywhere, but still getting acknowledged. You forget who you are because
yeah,
you're just part of the music. I'm just part of the show. It's not about me. I'm usually wearing black. I don't
Yeah.
care. My name's not posted. It's not about me. It's not the so and so Sean podcast. I don't do that because I
Mm,
want to, but the artist. But then this is where I can relate. The comfort, you get comfortable when not thinking about that. And also goes, I'll be at a show or something. And someone goes, "Can we talk to me?" And someone was at a show, and somebody quoted an artist for one of my shows to me, and they didn't realize who I
yes.
was, which is awesome because I like to think of myself as the John Goodman of podcasting.
Yeah.
Like an average guy, just
Yeah. No. Totally. Totally.
solid guy. I think it's a compliment because I like John Goodman. But the point is, like, you
No.
forget who you
John
are.
Greatman. Great.
Great, right? Yeah, right. Right, like that. Even better. But you know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with you. You don't think of yourself in that position. You're
Yeah.
just making music, and then. But meanwhile, people have your music, whether it's your records or CDs, whatever the music things are, and they're listening to you in other parts of their lives, which means all of a sudden you've become a part of their daily schedule. Just like people listen to the conversation now, all of a sudden whoever's listening to us in the car or YouTube or whatever,
Yeah.
people we've become part of their day. So thank you, people that are listening. We appreciate it.
We do.
Um, we do. We appreciate sharing the music and the love. But that's where it's an interesting thing, and that's where I think the larger rock bands and it got weird for a while. I think you know what I mean with the
Yeah.
rock, too big of rock stars.
No. I mean, there's a level of. I mean, you. Well, the saying "never meet your heroes," but like
I can
I'm
disagree with that one myself. I pretty much met so many people right now.
so I'm gonna agree and disagree in that like I've met a lot of my heroes at this point, especially in the
Mm-hmm.
music genre. And I'm lucky enough to call a handful of them my friends,
Yep.
and my peers. And that is, again, something not lost on me. And is also unfortunate, I've met people that I never want to meet again, or, have to be in a room with and all of that. And that's a hard part of being in the music industry at a whole. I think is just it goes back to something you were saying, like you have to be social, like all of the things they have to go through, like to
Yeah.
to get to the venue and all of that. Like I'm an introvert. I don't like a lot of things, and I got my good days and I've got my bad days.
I can
So,
agree with you.
and like and some like this past tour we were on was phenomenal. But there was still a day where we ended up in a weird, sketchy hotel that didn't have water or towels. And it's like, oh great, like now I'm stuck in Poland and like I can't shower, but I can hear
Yeah.
like this couple arguing through the wall. Like, it's like, and also again, it's like I'm not 20 anymore, I'm 40.
I
So
heard it gets harder as you get older.
it does. So there is this level of like, it's not all glitz and glam. Social media is a lie, because I'm gonna post the best pictures. But like, I'm still gonna take some crappy pictures to
But you're not
remember
living a fake life.
all
I've
of
actually
that.
seen your stuff, and it's there's a difference showing like well, I have a digital. It's like having a camera and taking a billion pictures because you can, and just posting and sharing all of them.
Mhm.
There is editing to show the best perspective of what you want to share in a moment, and if you share it
Yes.
with wholesome or fun, I think that's a difference. And I think that was fine line. I always battle with myself with like because I'm not, believe it or not, I'm not the most super social person. I've gotten
Yeah.
better, but we're
No.
talking one on one. I mean, when I talk to people like John Anderson from Yes or something like, also it's just you and them, and it's or any musicians from different genres, but it's one on one.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm finally comfortable with anybody, but I'm not speaking and performing from a bunch of people. You're
Yeah.
not going to see my street. You probably wouldn't even notice me because I'm pretty low key.
Hey,
So it is
again,
weird to
I
be
blend in with the crowd. So
exactly. So being introverted and extroverted is kind of different. And being in an industry, I don't think people understand that you can be both. Like I need to recharge
yeah,
afterwards
no. I mean,
with
that's
people.
that's absolutely a thing. We need to recharge. But yeah, I mean,
I think the hardest part is
yeah.
I don't know how you guys get in a van and tour or whatever, from planes to buses, all different bands as you get older. I'm like, in my 20s, I didn't want to be in the same car with my kids going across town. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be traveling too long. I don't like to drive even. You know what I mean? My poor wife
No,
has drives more than I do.
my day job, I work as a medical courier, and
Yeah.
driving is one of my least favorite activities. So,
See, there you go. But at least, but you're doing it for work. And I used to have to drive for work too because I do telecom stuff and now I'm an IT guy.
yeah,
So I don't drive as much. But when I got my job, when we moved, the boss says to me, he goes, because he knows how I am. And no secret I have a little autism. He goes, so we're moving. He goes, different site. He goes, that could be a challenge for your driving, like a different way. It's almost the same distance. And now I have a garage to park in. I'm like, no, it works out. It was a straight shot in, and I can kind of, I don't have to sit in traffic, which makes me crazy. So,
yeah, no,
so
these are
touring
actually
as an
wins.
artist, but touring as an artist to me sounds like everything bad in life
I mean,
without
yes,
complaining. And I like to do the complaining for the artist to say, so because if an artist doesn't comes off as kind of complaining, which
no,
I don't think it is, but me saying it's like, hey, these are all the challenges that the artist goes through to put on the show. Imagine getting older; it's not as much fun.
yeah,
When we go to parties, to me, 7 o'clock, I should be in my sweatpants, and it better be a good band. Even bands I'm
no,
friends with, I text
hey,
with, that were my peers, I grew up listening to. I'm like, they're coming to town. I'm like, I go, you better put on a good show. I swear to God, because I should be in bed in my sweatpants at that
no,
time with my dog and my
I
wife.
know how that goes. I'm more of a night owl, but
Yes,
at a certain point, I want to be like at home. Like
right.
I want to be home and cozy.
Yeah,
Not, I don't need to be at like, I'm not a person that's going to be at a bar at 2 a.m. Like,
right.
I still want to be home by 11 or
There has
whatever.
to be a purpose. You know what I mean? Like for me,
Yeah,
like
no, I'll go out and see bands, absolutely. And I'm trying to go out and do it more, but life is exhausting, you know.
but hanging out though is kind of hard. Just hang out without going to like to see a band and you're hanging out with part of the situation, but to just go out and drink all night and hang out and just
Yeah,
hanging out all night and drink out in public, it just seems
no,
like a lot to me.
yeah,
I'm like, I gotta have a point. Like even go to I don't even want to exercise because I'm like, it would just I'm not training for anything. So why would I go to the gym? All right, that's not probably a good example, but I'm
no.
not going to
Hey,
run
hey,
unless I'm being
hey,
chased by a police car or a lion. To me, I've got to have a reason.
no, I hear you. No, I mean, having a reason to be out late is definitely. I'll agree with you on that one. But yeah,
But that's just getting older. But I'm saying, but as an artist for you, and I think it's important for people, to realize those challenges. As,
hmm,
each band or, oh, your town. Well, you play my town because economics. Because
yeah, no,
when was the last time you filled your tank and said, you know what, I'm just going to drive 2 towns over for no reason,
yeah,
and then drive home, and that's my gas for the week. I don't want to have to fill it for a week because I have other things I want to do with my money. That's kind of what a band has to do with four other people. And if they have somebody doing a shirt or merch, or the driver, or it's hotel, or if it's an off night and they're staying somewhere else and they have to do, there's a whole lot of things there just to do an extra town that's not on the route. There
yeah.
better be some money in it to make it at least be break even. At least break even. Nobody
No,
wants to be
yeah,
in the red, because you do. A band like yours, a lot of bands, and most bands have day jobs, travel jobs where they can work remote. That's kind of helped out bands a lot now.
yeah.
Being able to work remote has helped out. But it's still a challenge.
No,
Your jobs usually got to be pretty forgiving, flexible, understanding, a cool boss, to be able to tour and do this kind of stuff.
no, absolutely. It is. I mean, we everyone in the band has day jobs and responsibilities, mortgages, kids,
Yeah.
etc. So like we've been a part-time band pretty much the entire time we've like there's never been a sense of like, oh yeah, this is our living. Like, like this has always been something that I do because I love it. In we for nearly 20 years now still meet up once a week, whether we have something going on or not.
Yeah.
Obviously we've
You're a full
had
time band. You're just not living off, it's just not profits in the economy for
no.
you. I
Well,
wouldn't put you
we're not on the road touring
no,
and
but
all of that.
you're not a garage band just getting together, getting drunk, playing dad rock either.
No,
You know what I'm
definitely,
saying?
definitely
So
not.
that's a part time band. I'm saying you guys are a full hardworking bunch of musicians,
Yeah. No,
but
I
just like
mean, there's
99% of the
a
people out there economically, platinum bands out there that I know,
mm,
still some of those guys still have day jobs and other businesses that they run.
yeah.
And we listen to their hit singles and the radios and on MTV and their videos. They have
Yeah.
day jobs and they
Oh,
do fly
totally.
out gigs on the weekends. So that doesn't mean they're part time bands either. You're saying so like maybe you don't think that. I just want people to be aware. I don't think you're a part time band. I think you're
I,
a
I appreciate that very very much, and you know, it it's a it's a thing that keeps you humble, essentially,
I
in
think you'd
the
be fine
grand
if you had
scheme of
success. If you had more
things.
money, you'd be fine. I don't think you'd be.
Oh no, hey,
I don't think
hey,
you.
no, do not get me wrong. Like capitalism is bad, but like I need more money, please, world.
Yeah.
I need it.
No, I mean that's the thing. It's funny because the more. So you talk about like bands getting more money and how they handle things. You can laugh, but like to me, I always love going back to the rock bands, the hair metal bands, the bands, stoner bands, the '70s bands.
Mhm.
Anything with rock and really good guitar or someone has in it. Those are the bands that no matter where they're at in their career, and they've been up huge and still are, and some down, up and down, are always have been the coolest. They don't ask about numbers. I mean, my show gets some decent numbers now, and
Yeah,
I'm, in fact, I don't ever I don't pay any money for it. I don't advertise it. I'm very organic myself, but despite that, I've never had the concern from a lot of those kind of artists, big artists. They go, "What's your numbers? What's your numbers?"
yeah,
I usually want to run from that because I'm like, my numbers are pretty decent, but I don't want to be that world. I'm trying to avoid that because I don't do bands because of the numbers.
yeah. No,
I'm trying to avoid just the real world music. So a band like you is a real band. A lot of the bands I do, I mean, some of the top 40 bands in the 80s, their managers don't think like that, which is kind of
mm.
funny because a lot of the other bands are a lot bigger,
uh,
and
uh, was
it's a
not
weird dynamic.
well. I mean, again, 40. I was born in '85, so like
Yeah,
I'm looking at the '80s retroactively here.
right.
Didn't
That was
experience
16
it.
then. Yeah,
My least favorite of the eras.
yeah.
It's essentially everything I don't like about music because
Really?
it is the like the excess of I don't know how to put it, but it's all of
I
the
get.
thing. I don't know. It's just
I think when you're born into, it's interesting because like every 10 years it changes. I dig every music scene. I think probably I don't know if I'm probably in 2000 probably my least favorite band that pull out of originality because I thought some of the songs were homogenized, but like with hair metal, like every band, I'm not saying they're all great, had a different singer. Top 40 bands, like you can have like the Hooters or Cyndi Lauper or like Flock of Seagulls, they all sound differently. And I think to me, that's what I liked with the 80s
mm,
and every other genre since then. And even before that, a lot of disco bands sound the same. It feels like all the pop and rock bands back then really, they did at least have a different sound. So that's one
yeah,
of the things I take out of the 80s. I was like, I miss the originality
yeah.
of that. Not
I
saying they're all
understand.
great
No,
artists either,
no,
but like
totally.
the 90s and then before that, the 70s, a lot of bands started sounding the same.
I mean, that genre though, like if you, but also if you,
It was ridiculous too. Don't get me wrong, it was ridiculous.
no, yeah, but I mean, if you look at anything close enough, you can say everything sounds the same. You know, like
And
that's
everything's ridiculous if you think about it too. Everything we all do, you can break it down to, you know.
life is absurd. So,
But a lot of those bands that were playing coliseums that went down and for a long time they're playing clubs and they're back up, whatever they're playing.
no,
I
totally,
talk to them now, they're still the same people. They're
yeah,
literally the nicest people. They weren't like they're on everybody's walls, but they're still nice. And then I talked to somebody else that wasn't even that big, and it's the whole thing.
yeah.
And I'm
Oh
like,
no, I mean
it's
that's
such a weird dynamic for musicians for different time periods. I'm like, and even now younger bands are like that to me. I'm like, you have no idea.
yeah,
Go on tour for like a couple years in a van and then come back, you know,
yeah.
and I want to see how you are. It's not about pictures on Instagram and your guitar on the beach.
No,
Put the time in, you know. Is it how is songwriting for you guys though at this point? Because I mean, obviously it's always been kind of a evolution, a jam.
yeah.
Has it changed a lot from the beginning to where we are
Uh,
now?
I mean, definitely. I mean, in the beginning, there wasn't a lot of thought that was put into things. Like it was like, hey, we have a riff, let's go record it, like and see where it
Yeah,
goes. Um, Around Satan worshiping Doom is when
mhm.
we started really fully structuring, like planning out the songs,
Yeah,
writing everything. Like there's still some level of looseness to some things. Like the track Doom is a progressively noise building track of one
right.
riff over and over. that like was never like it was kind of a studio track, and then we had to figure out how to play it. It's like, well, there's 53 guitar tracks. I don't know, like, kind of thing. And they're all noise, but whatever. Um, the songwriting is a lot different than the early days, but the process is pretty much the same in that, all right, anyone have a riff? Do we have an
So are you
idea?
guys coming in? So is it collectively? You may have small things, ideas you guys have separately, but for the most part, it's really just a collective
Do we
throwdown.
feel, hey, does anyone have an idea? Do we feel like writing a record? Like we
There's
we
no separate things, then, right? You're not coming in. You're like, hey, I wrote a song, a bass,
no,
time to write an album type of thing. I mean, because every artist has a different way of doing it. That's why I'm kind of
yeah,
curious.
it's no, it's very collaborative. Someone will come in with a riff, and then we'll either jam on it, or like, a couple of riffs, like a section and whatnot, and then we'll, in the process of like each of us learning how to play each part, sometimes it just changes
Mm-hmm.
because someone's playing it incorrectly, or you have a different feel, but it's like, wait, no, I like that better, like let's skip that note,
Yeah,
or no, wait, did you go to 5 instead of 7? No, 5 sounded better there, like let's do that. And no, we should take that part, play it 3 times instead of 1 time, and all of that. So it's kind of the same thing I assume other bands do,
it's different, and
to
I gotta be
some
honest.
extent.
It, I've heard some crazy things from some artists. Some they just totally separately. Some chop it together. Some people do it backwards.
Yeah,
You know what? David Bowie's writing songs, writing words, and he chops them all together and puts them together. I mean, everybody's got a different way of
yeah,
doing
oh
things,
no, totally.
and that's what my favorite. And it felt like such a stock question when I started this show. Everyone's like, "You need to ask, like, when did you get your first guitar?" Da, da, da. I couldn't do that. It was just too gross. I did like a couple times of that. And
Yeah,
so to me, it's always been a nonlinear episode. But I always do have to dip back, and even if it's an artist that has like a new band and they were like a legendary band, whatever, I want to talk about the new band too.
yeah,
But so I do creep back into the songwriting process over the years of that band because that's how you knew them.
yeah.
But where it goes, that being said, some bands it changes over the years. Some bands are like, well, the band is one leader.
Mm.
It's written. Sometimes we write just in the studio, and then we figure out afterwards. We write in parts and segments.
Yeah,
And then I've heard, I go back and listen to the album. I'm like, I never would have heard that.
yeah,
Now, you talk about not knowing music and everything, and I'll be reading music, whatever, but you make it sound like you're like much more organic and naturally. But as a band, you guys don't sound like, just a jam band. I mean, you guys
yeah. No,
sound like it's all charted out. The songs sound like these. So that just shows to how natural your ears are to it. And that's what leads to most musicians where it's more of a
mm.
natural thing, you know? And you
Yeah.
can play the wrong chords together and it sounds great.
The only one in the band who has like knows any music theory is Dennis, our guitar player, who also records everything that we do. He has a studio that is built out of his house, Comatose Studios, and that's he's recorded and mixed and mastered everything we've ever done. So like
Tell
that.
him good job. It
Oh
really
no,
is a good,
he's
really good
phenomenal.
out of the
Like
gate.
we,
Most bands don't always have solid albums.
yeah,
So I always notice when a band has a solid, you know,
yeah.
good
No,
sound, good artwork, good titles for everything. You guys have been very consistent the whole way through. Like no bad album. You know what I mean?
no. Hey, I very much appreciate that. It does mean a lot, and I'm very proud of it because like
No, you should. It's very
I
consistent. It very is.
love albums like that. It goes back
Yeah, I
to
do. Yes.
us talking earlier about like how do you market and all of this. It's like uh, I think that anybody is capable of like picking up an instrument and writing a good melody. Like anybody who can do this, I think we're all creative, uh, or could be inspired enough. Like
You can
anyone
be
can do it.
creative. You can be. No, I think you can be creative and not be musically able to play an instrument,
Well,
but you
no,
can
I'm just
sonically
saying.
create music.
I just think it's just something that's all of us have a tune in our head. Maybe.
I know some people that couldn't do it. Like I can't draw. Not if we can draw.
Very fair, very fair. But to my
I get your
point
point.
here is that it then takes effort to hone that in to actually writing a song. And like it's hard to write a good song. It is. Like, I've heard so many bands write bad songs, and I've written so many bad songs myself over the years, you know. And but I think any band can write a good song. I think it takes a lot of effort and thought into writing a good album.
Yeah.
So like when I listen to a band, like I want to hear an album. I want to hear the whole thing. I want to hear the collection of like
Yep.
what the artist was doing, what the vision was. Can I hear a vision? And like there's I
Song
don't.
order. I get crazy about the whole thing. So
Oh no, totally. And like that's honestly my favorite part of discovering a band or any of it. So like when it comes to us, like BONGRIPPER, we tend to have a purpose of like, well, at least these days,
yeah.
of
Well, there's
okay,
an
what are we
evolution.
like? Is there something we're trying to accomplish? Like, do
Mhm.
we have an idea? Is there like obviously we don't have any lyrics, but like is there something we want to say musically
Yeah.
or do musically that we haven't done? I don't. Again, I'm 1/4 of the band. I don't speak for everybody, but like I know I wouldn't feel comfortable putting out a song that like I thought was bad.
Right.
Like if there was some,
Uh,
we have scrapped material over the years, worked on a song or whatever for months, and then even like workshopped it live, and then realized
mhm.
like this just isn't working. Like like it's not
But
up to
that's
the
fair. I
standards
mean,
or whatever. It's like let's get rid of it, and like that sucks. It really sucks to do that because it's like, hey, we were all working, and it's like we all have connections to it or whatever,
yeah.
But I think that is also part of why we do have good albums.
Mhm.
I don't want to
No, there's a
sit
quality
here and say
control and
like, oh yeah,
natural.
we're the best
No.
or whatever, but like I think we do release good records. They're cohesive, but a lot of thought
Well, you
and
should feel that
time
way
goes
though.
into
It's
that.
not bad,
Yeah.
People go, "Oh, that artist was just on top of his album. This is the best album ever." Well, I hope he does. I hope he's
No, I
always
mean,
trying to do the best ever. How does that not feel like a bad? What I'm saying, when an
no,
artist does that, they always go,
I'm
"It's
gonna
my best
be.
album." Generally, if they're not just BSing you because they copy the last album,
Yeah.
if they, yeah, I want them to believe it. I want to hear them say, "You know what? I'm really proud." That means I'm really proud of this, and
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
I've created something different than I did before. I push myself more. Is
Yeah,
it better in your ears, melody wise? I don't know, maybe not. But to me, I feel like I pushed myself differently.
and I mean that's 100%. I agree with you, Sean. Like
That's serving the song though. That's different than
that's
what a
how I
fan wants,
felt
maybe.
about, or that's how I feel about Empty. Our last record.
Yeah.
I think it's the best thing we've ever done. I'm so immensely proud of it. All I want to do is talk about it,
Yeah, right. It is a
But
good
it's
album.
also the thing of that, we don't send it out for press or anything. So it's like, yeah,
You
it's out
should
in
do a
the
little more
world.
at
Like
this point. But I
we
think at
hope
this point
that you enjoy
now,
it.
you should.
Huh?
You should do a little bit more now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
an independent in like with podcasting or whatever else,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, I mean, that's kind of
the world's different now.
this is a level of
Right.
marketing or whatever. No,
It
this
is.
is a conversation and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. And I am too. That
But
was a creation of my show because I was tired of hearing artists
yeah,
being like, just the stupid questions, the same radio questions and like
no,
Hawaiian
totally.
shirts and this and that. I'm like, I just want somebody to talk to the artist and maybe we can just talk about something else kind of relatable and then go back to the music because you want to know where the thought process is.
No,
You
yeah,
know, I mean, gone are the days of somebody driving guitars through the ride house, and those were some rock star days. That was some cool stuff. Those were some great books. Nowadays, I'm like, you throw a TV at the window. I'm like, it's gonna be, I'm gonna get cut. You gotta clean it up. I'm just thinking of all these other things going on in my world now, and that's my own neurosis. But I think that's not the world anymore. And I think you want to hear like, so what were you thinking when you wrote this album? Like, you see all these crazy images, and what was that person at? Like, what was their background? And I think part of it helps other artists that may feel like, I'm not that guy. I can't do that. I can't read this sheet music because you have some people that can't write really music, and more like you and like me. I can read
yeah,
Bill of the Town, but I forget all the time. I have to relearn. Like, but I have fun doing it.
yeah.
And on this level, that's a lot of people. It's probably like 75% of the people. You have some people that can learn plays middle, and then you get your Ingves with their scalp guitar necks, right?
Yeah.
You can't touch. So I'm not playing.
No.
And your Steve Vai and stuff, which I love those guys. Now the when you're writing songs, there was a bigger challenge of like Steve Vai is very good because he kind of can come into the world in the middle part where the songs would songs and interesting.
Mhm.
Sometimes a lot of people have a hard time with an artist like Ingve because there's so much going on there, it misses the point of a song
Yeah.
for some fan base. And whereas a Steve Vai could go here, or or your band is going to be more relatable to the song process. So sometimes it's not about what you know; it's still about how it comes out and then what people want to hear. So it's really got to be authentic from you before you
No,
go
totally.
anywhere.
Uh, I view at least BONGRIPPER. I view our albums and songs kind of relatable to like a film, more so than maybe like a traditional song. In that, like the music is telling a story, and obviously, there's no words or anything, but we need to move the story along and convey something. But the trick is like to also make it memorable, because
Right.
we can write something that is incredibly slow or incredibly heavy, but like at the end of the day, if there isn't something that brings you back to wanting to hear it again, like
Mm-hmm.
we're not a band that you can listen to just once, like,
Right.
and be like, oh, I got it. Like, per I don't know. Everyone
Yes, no,
hears
I get
everyone
that.
hears
I get.
things
So what you're saying
differently
is your
and
next
all of
album is a
that.
continuation of film. So this your next album will be The Hangover 4. So just so people are aware of that. No, I think I get what you're saying.
I was gonna
It's
go
an
with
investment of oh,
the thing or something, but all right.
I actually saw The Hangover 3 not so long ago. I was like, there's actually funny parts. I didn't realize it was a long time ago. Or I hate sequels, but in general, it's pretty funny. But so, but the truth is, I do think it is a different audience, and it is. I do think you probably have a lot more people that are like me and like you, though. Obviously, you make music and I listen to it that are full album people like full albums.
Yeah,
You're reading like pictures, the Allman Brothers, the pictures, the all, and then
yeah,
back in the day, you look at it like, oh, who's catering? Whatever. You're looking at
yes,
everything on it, studio, who did it, you know, um, because you're sitting down for an album. It was an investment of time. I have a record player and I have tons of records, and that's why I really like to get it.
yeah,
I'm not a big fan of even getting artists sending me stuff like we have a single. All they were singles. I've only like one or two bands like that. I really have a hard time doing that. I can't do it
yeah.
really. I just can't. I'm like, I want to hear a full song, like an
No,
album.
yeah,
Like your guys are a little different because your songs are like albums. But if you're
yeah.
just only doing singles, and you don't have if you do an album,
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
find that frustrating. Like there's some bands out there that like they've released like I've noticed that this is a trend of like kind of modern music, unfortunately, of you kind of more just release singles because people are playing to the algorithm of like Spotify, and they're just
right,
trying to get on a playlist or anything. Uh, and like for someone like me, and like not everything's for everyone. So
right.
I don't think that the world should cater to me in every
No,
regard, especially I definitely not every regard,
no, but
but
there's a balance, though,
uh,
don't you think? I mean,
I
because
think it goes back into that thing I was talking about of like, okay, cool, like you wrote a good song, but can you write another good song?
right.
Can you write five good songs? Can you write three good songs and two okay songs? Like, you know what? Because like that's still more than a lot of people can, you
Well, just
know?
go back and look at the okay songs. If it was in the wrong, if it was in the wrong order on an album,
Oh
five
yeah,
years later you'll hear it. You're like, God, that was a really good song. How did I not like it? Because they skipped it because it didn't fit the order.
yeah,
I mean, that makes a huge difference. But like, I can take a lot of rock bands that are being encouraged to do the waterfall thing, and at the end, I'm like, at the end of the rainbow here, at the end of the year, we're putting an album together. So if I'm on iTunes, I don't have a bunch of singles, and I have to make my own album and put them all
yeah.
together. And
No,
you actually it builds up to something. I'm a little more understanding of that. But if you're just being a singles band forever,
no, yeah, it's
just not for me. I can't invest in that.
I agree. I really really loved the new Haley Williams record,
Mm-hmm.
but like she released it as like 19 singles like a month in advance to like the fans or whatever, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait until
yeah,
y'all figure it out. Like, let me know like how you want to listen to it.
yep.
Like, I don't need to be in that involved, but like that's cool that she did it. Like, And
Right.
that's one of my favorite records that came out in 2025. Like, it's a phenomenal record, and that's something to say. Like, the
Yeah,
fans,
no, that's a gray area, though, right? You still have a piece of music. You have a massive music
yeah,
of a statement. You're not just. I think if you the difference would be is if they're trying to find a leg in
sequences,
each lane. Yeah,
yeah,
but like with a band, it's just the singles. You're not thinking about anything else for that one moment, which makes me feel like they're catering to a more commercial sound
yeah,
than focusing on the songs, maybe, or they're just commercial artists, and that's just how it is. And I wouldn't be
yeah.
listening to them anyhow.
Well, I mean, I think there's a level of, obviously, like I keep saying, we only make music for ourselves, but you do listen to the audience, and like when if something like doesn't like isn't working live or
Yeah,
whatever, you adjust and change. Or like if a
right.
song just isn't hitting the way that you think it's going to, like you move it around in the set or whatever.
Well, that's reasonable.
I mean, like we have the benefit of, I like to think that we are a better live band than a studio band. Unfortunately, we just don't get to play live as often as other bands, but like I'm fortunate. I'm grateful for every single time we do get to play live,
Right.
because the pandemic was a weird time of like, am I ever going to get to play music again?
Yeah.
Like that was a weird and scary and difficult time for all
Everyone. Right.
creatives,
Yeah.
and I
It
mean,
was.
and everyone, but like it was this weird hole of like, also we were in the process of writing the record Empty at that time. Dennis broke his collarbone. Like
Oh,
we had a rough 2020, just all around as a
yeah.
band. But like we got through it. We wrote what I think is a fantastic record.
Hmm.
And I mean, we've gotten to play a handful of songs from it like live now, especially like on like this past year. We were playing the opening track Nothing, and like I can see the audience react to it.
Yep.
Like, it's like I might not be able to like read a Rolling Stone review saying my music's good or whatever, but I can see a room full of people like recognize it and be excited. And like that honestly means a whole lot more, uh because it's the experience. And like, I don't know, I love playing music. It's my favorite thing.
You should
So
do a fan greatest hits thing. It'll be like 8 albums, vinyl albums for
I
you
mean, that's the
guys.
problem. Our
It'd be
greatest hits
hilarious.
is
I think it's
all of them.
great.
So
Yeah, it's awesome. So I do want to say I want to have you back on again. Hopefully, you have some more music coming out. I want to have we'll do a deep dive if you want. You're welcome to come back. Do you what's the future going on? You guys for new music coming up or any shows you want to promote? What's going
uh,
on?
so I don't think we have a couple of things in the works, so far, for 2026. We are working on new music.
Okay.
We decided, hey, let's start writing a new record.
Okay.
But it takes us a while because
Well, the
we're,
process is out there. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be in stone. I'm just saying like to
yeah.
the fans, like okay, so
No.
well, some fans say like you know what, I'm taking 2 years off. So the
Oh
fans, so
yeah,
like
no.
basically you're like no, we're writing again. So
Yeah,
like
we're
it works.
working on writing. But like that said, it probably would be 2027,
But you want to
before
challenge yourself.
things
If you
are
did a really
written,
good album,
recorded, all of that. Like it takes a while, like, to do all of that. Um, in the meantime, Empty is out.
yeah.
You can enjoy that. Personally, I also play in a band called Saxes. It's a three-piece noise rock kind of band. We're recording in February, uh, and that should be out faster.
I'll have to check that
Be,
out. I was like, where
yeah,
is it?
yeah, I'll send you a link. But
Yeah,
yeah,
please do.
yeah, we, no, I mean, we're, I don't know, follow us on
I'm gonna put the links
Instagram or
below. I'll put the
something.
link below. Yeah, whatever
Right.
you want. Send me what you want. I'll put it underneath the YouTube and on the podcast.
No,
So when
yeah,
the people are done,
I
they
don't
can
know.
check you out.
Do whatever we want. But if you listen to our music, I hope you enjoy it. And if you don't, that's cool too. You know, it's not for everything. It's not for everyone. Not everything is for everyone, and that's totally
I
cool.
agree. I mean, I would say the expression you're not an ice cream man, right? You can't make everybody happy. So
Uh, Hilariously, I delivered ice cream for 8 years, so
oh,
very appropriate.
that feels like a nightmare. Once again, it just feels like the worst job ever for me. That's probably just me though. Those are my issues, right? Oh,
Uh,
melting ice cream and kids and dirty
well,
money.
it was more stocking ice cream in like grocery
Yeah.
stores, but yeah,
Okay, that's yeah, a little better.
slightly better. But
Better. Right. I want to thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. People check them out, and then hopefully we'll be talking on the road again. I'd like that. Keep me in
yeah,
your
for sure.
your